we have this robust system, this viable jurisprudence of child rights, not only about children who are in need of care and protection, but also about children who are in conflict with law. And this law, which is going to be replaced soon, of course, with a new law. This new law is not that different. Not that different, of course. It's not different at all, except in some minor aspects, which I already talked about. I asked this question to this class, which has a different composition. Have you ever seen a policeman whom you could recognize as a special juvenile police in this city or somewhere else? A special juvenile police. Who would be that special juvenile police? Would he be a different cadre of police altogether from some other state? No, he would be one of the regular police, member of the regular police force, but he would be differently dressed, differently attired. I told you this, that khaki, that color is intimidating for children, isn't it? You must be amused if you are told that when you cried, your parents would tell you, "Chup ho jao, police aa jayegi," or you were shown someone in khaki and you immediately stopped crying. That very sight of that color is intimidating. Let me tell you, intimidating. That very sight. And that continues till you realize that no, they are also friends, but that's too late. That's too late. And maybe that realization never happens for many. Never happens for many. So what you can do is that you can ensure, go and visit and talk to the police personnel present out there, that do we have a child welfare officer? A child welfare officer is again not someone who belongs to a different cadre altogether. He is a police officer. Every police station must have a child welfare officer who would be one of their police inspectors. There are many in big thanas, in big police stations. There are many. One must be designated, not only on paper. There must be some visible sign of his presence in every police station. Why? Because children constitute more than 50% of our population. We are a country of very young people. So when more than 50% of the population is below the age of 18 years, of course you need to have at least one visible, not on papers. Every thana in charge, as we call them, station house officer, SHO, Thanedar, would be able to tell you that yes, we have a child welfare officer, but that child welfare officer must be visible. They must also have a register, separate one, where they would be making separate entries of cases of both children who are in conflict with law and children who are in need of care and protection. Children who are loitering, say for example, roaming around aimlessly at some secluded place, or at some say for example railway station, or they are all children who need some care and protection. They all. If you happen to see one, talk to them. You have to volunteer. They won't talk. They won't come to you. You don't look like one of them, of course. Thankfully. They won't be coming to you. You have to go to them. You have to talk. And I think in Lucknow, few NGOs are doing wonderful job when it comes to treating with empathy and sympathy and care and love and affection children who are really in need of care and protection. Yeah. There's no attendance. I thought that people are there because I thought that some incentives are there. Attendance being one, very important. So you need to talk to them, of course. You need to talk to them, and you need to also talk to them that what led them to this. What is the problem? You may not be able to solve, but once you show some concern, maybe there might be a way whereby you can also help them out with whatever problem they might be in. But waiting for them to come, I don't think that that's going to work. That's not going to work, especially with children of both the categories, in conflict with law and care, in need of care and protection. So you need to take that first step. That ice breaking must be from you. If you don't break that ice, of course, that ice would remain. That chill would remain, and that is what I want all of you to break, of course. I was talking about that register, which we can see whether that is being properly maintained, properly kept. All entries should be there. Another thing which you need to do, go and see whether they have the Juvenile Justice Act and rules in their library. You would be shocked to see that they only read CRPC. CRPC is their Bible. CRPC. That's their Bible. Now CRPC, as I already mentioned, is hugely oriented. It talks about adult criminal justice system. Adult prosecution, trial, charge sheet, cognizance, appeal, division, other issues. Rights of the adult criminals, of course. That may not be of much help when they are told that a juvenile is in conflict with law or was complicit with other adults in some criminal activity, in some criminal enterprise, something like that. You can also check if they are including the name of a juvenile in the FIR, in which other accused persons are all adults. Because if they do this, they would be treating the juvenile as adult. Once a juvenile's name is entered into that FIR along with other adults, his name would also appear in the charge sheet, which I told you the charge sheet is alien again, alien term. It's entirely irrelevant when it comes to juveniles in conflict with law. So that folly, that problem, that prejudice, that bias which they carry due to ignorance or due to some other, I'm not sure what could be the reason. But they appear to be hugely biased against children. Hugely. So that perpetuates. Once the name is entered in the FIR with other adult criminals, that perpetuates. It would be there in the charge sheet, and if the judge, the trial judge, or the judge who takes cognizance of that particular charge sheet is also not very diligent, of course, charges may also be framed against a juvenile. There have been instances, let me tell you. If you believe that after coming to force of JJ Act, everything is now fairly being done vis-a-vis children, you are wrong. I was also talking about that shocking revelation, that shocking result of research in Uttarakhand. Several juveniles are lodged with adult prisoners, which again is against the letter and spirit of law. They can't be lodged. They can't be housed in the same. They can't be inmates in the same prison. Prisons are only for adults. Prisons are only for adults. Even the use of the term prison is a taboo. That's a taboo. Like the use of the term charge sheet and trial and prosecution and arrest, use of the term prison or jail is again a taboo. You don't have jails for children. You only have special homes, observation homes. Special homes and observation homes. Even if you find somewhere mentioned bachon ki jail, that's not a jail, that's not a prison, of course. It's not. No prisons for them. And if they are being lodged only because there are no separate places for them, of course you can take up that cause. Like people in Uttarakhand took up that. That matter was referred to the High Court and directions were issued and all that. So the first thing which we can do, and people from different places in this state or from other state can do, that if they are really concerned about this, they can visit the nearest police station and see whether these provisions in letter and also spirit are being implemented. And if not being implemented, what is the reason? What is the reason? What problems the policemen face if they do this? I only believe that is only on account of lack of concern, lack of love, lack of compassion for the children. And also they are so engrossed in that adult criminal justice system that they treat these juveniles in conflict with law as minor aberrations. These are not minor aberrations, of course. If not properly treated, of course, they have this possibility of becoming hardened criminals. The entire juvenile justice system is oriented to reform them. Everything. Another cardinal principle: every decision must be in the best interest of the child. Every decision, whether the decision is to apprehend him or to release him, that would be in the best interest of the child. I was talking about those instances where a decision to apprehend may be in the best interest of the child. Meaning that by keeping a child in the observation home or a special home may be in the best interest of the child, because his release would result in some very unfortunate consequences for him or maybe for his family. There have been instances, I shared that many APOs, many public prosecutors who conduct these inquiries against juveniles in conflict with law, they said that family members of such juveniles, they pleaded that please don't get a release order, please, because if they are released, they would be lynched. If they are released, we would not be able to save their life. If they are sent to the observation home or a special home, at least they would be alive. So there are so many issues, there are so many problems. Problems are aplenty, systemic problems in law, problems in the attitude of the people, problems in the biases and prejudices which we carry only because we treat them as adults, whereas they must be treated with some extra care, extra love, extra compassion. Can be cured. All these problems can be addressed, but there are certain things which we, even if we work together, we may not do in say for example 6 months time or 1 year's time or 2 years time. That would take its own time. That would be That would be done once everyone realizes that what is the significance of this special justice system for children. For example, let me tell you that JJ board has not been constituted for the past several years. It completed its term across UP. And you won't believe, in many cases where juveniles were apprehended and were brought before the JJ boards, they challenged the very constitution of the JJ board. They said that this JJ board completed its term and no order has been issued. There is no provision for the renewal of that term. There is nothing. Now once that is patently illegal, they challenge each and every direction or order which they pass. That is an obvious tactics to buy time. We are all aware that how juvenile justice system, the whole juvenile justice system was circumvented by a very influential person who was accused of committing rape in this locality itself, Ashiana rape case. I think you might be knowing. It took almost 9 years before that person was declared to be juvenile. So there are loopholes, I agree. There are loopholes. Though Juvenile Justice Act and the rules, they provide for time-bound inquiry. Time-bound. That this inquiry must be done in this period, that inquiry must be done in that period. But those rules are observed only in violation. They are never observed in letter and in spirit. So there is not much I always believed, except that you can set the entire system straight. Set the entire system straight in the sense that those creases which you see, those problems which you see, you can highlight, you can confront, you can reason, and also you can imbibe those values and take a pledge that you would be adhering to those values even after you graduate from this law school and practice law. Can we visit Ashiana police station and see whether they are concerned about? In fact, we are mooting one research study in 5 districts with the help of UNICEF, where we will be studying the functioning of all police stations in 5 most backward districts, and the study involves all these aspects, whether they have a special juvenile police. JJ Act talks about a unit, a special juvenile police unit. When you have not seen even a single constable who could appear child friendly, of course, you can imagine that whether we can ever have a special juvenile police unit in this state at least. If that is not functioning in Lucknow, you can very easily imagine if that is functioning in any other city of this great state or not. And also, let me tell you that it would be an eye-opener if you visit those observation homes and special homes. It would be an eye-opener. You would not like to visit there again. Ten, 15, 20 children, they are dumped in one single room, dingy room, no ventilation, nothing. Nothing. The right to education has no significance for them. No significance. every juvenile there would be taught only up to class 5. Class 5. Meaning thereby the syllabus which they follow is that of class 5. So if you are 10-year-old, if you are 12-year-old, if you are 15-year-old or 17-year-old, you would all be taught only that syllabus. That's what we call khana puri. It's only because the rules mandate the officials to provide for some educational, recreational facilities. That's done on papers. Some teacher would be coming there, would not be treating that as some noble kind of commitment, would feel burdened, and then would be discharging that function very casual manner. So there's a lot which can be done. There is a lot which can be, I think, corrected. But it's all up to you. It's not necessary that you must work in groups and in say for example in groups of 5, 10, 15 people. Even individually you can take up all these issues as and when you confront. You need not act as a volunteer of legal aid committee. You can act as an individual, a concerned individual, someone who is concerned about children, someone who is concerned about juvenile justice system, someone who understands the nuances, someone who imbibes those values, someone who understands that why they should be treated entirely differently from the adults. You can do that, of course, but small steps only would lead to some big, I think, achievement. So we can take that step maybe tomorrow or the day after, or whenever you are say for example feeling like doing it. But let's start it from Ashiana police station, and other people who are living in some different locality and have access to police stations, they can also do that. It's not necessary that we should go there as a mob, 20, 30, 40 people, questioning them, their authority. We can, of course, we can ask them that what is the problem, why are they not doing it, and if they are doing it, of course, we can praise them and we can also show others that this is the way this should be done, this is the way this should be done. So that's it in the sense that I came here not to teach you anything, that these are the provisions and these are the interpretations and this is the case law, that is the case law, of course. The usual manner in which we do these things in the classroom. So if you have any questions, any concerns, or something which you believe but was not sure whether that is true or not, you can ask me.
But sir, still, how to change that very perception of our society?
That's different. That's most difficult. That's most difficult, of course. Much of the problem is only because people are hugely prejudiced against children. I told you.
Even against anyone who has even been any accused, what would be children? Anyone who has been even an allegation is made of any person, our society thinks that person is a criminal.
I think that would take time. That would take time in the sense that as the society matures, society also matures. A much mature society than society 20 years back. So maybe that would only happen with time. I don't know, maybe education, maybe sensitization. That's why we have sensitization programs as well. We sensitize people, and it's possible to sensitize. It's possible. Policemen, they are being sensitized. Other professionals, other stakeholders in the juvenile justice system, they are being sensitized. Not necessarily training. Training is something very old-fashioned. Now, sensitization is the buzzword. That is now the in thing. So that is something which we need to do. Sensitize people. But that sensitization should start with ourselves. Meaning thereby you sensitize yourself, imbibe those values, try to not use those terms which are prohibited Also confront other people if they use these terms. Reason with them that the notion or the prejudices which they carry against juveniles in conflict with law, they are all wrong. Try to confront them with the help of data, authentic data, of course. These are things which we all can individually and collectively do as paralegal volunteers or as someone who is concerned about children in this country. Yeah.
Second speaker.
Who? A police officer should be designated as one.
What does he wear?
What does he? He need not appear like a Santa Claus or that's not necessary. It's not necessary. No prescribed dress code, of course. The prohibition is that he should not be in his uniform.